Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Good to have you back with us, Philip. So as we saw just there, fighting appears to be ramping up. This, of course, despite a ceasefire. What exactly is going on?
Well, I wish we could explain exactly what is going on there, but I don't really think anybody completely knows where this is going and how this is going to work out. I don't think the Iranians really know how this is going to end up at the end of the day, and certainly the Americans don't know either. And that's why we've seen this constant changing of tactic, statements, end game. It's almost over, it's not over, we're getting there, we're not quite there yet, it's all in the writing and everything. There has been progress, that is for sure. But you can have 95% of everything done, and it's only the 5% that remains, which is the very difficult part you have to get over, and that can then end up creating a mess as far as the other 95% is concerned. So we really don't know at the moment where this is going. So let's pick through it. There was a bombing attack last night against vessels which the United States claim were laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, ready to attack potential US ships in the region. There was also a bombing raid against a base in the southern part of Iran. The Iranians have said, well, the US has basically violated the ceasefire. That means that Iran now has the right to retaliate against the US. So where does that leave the ceasefire, and where does that leave one of the points of this memorandum of understanding, which is an extension of 60 days of the ceasefire? There are several important points on this memorandum of understanding, which we still don't know exactly how they're going to work out and how they're going to be negotiated. The main one being the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. We don't seem to be any closer to that, especially as we've had a statement from this man who is the new leader of Iran, the spiritual leader of Iran, who said that Washington is losing its influence in the Middle East and that Middle East countries should no longer host bases from which the US could launch attacks. Basically attacks on Iran. The second point here is that Washington is now demanding that Iran, of course, curb its nuclear ambitions and relinquish about 400 kilos of enriched uranium. The latest statement from Donald Trump is that, well, we're not going to take that enriched uranium back to the United States. We're going to destroy it on the ground in Iran. That would obviously be much cheaper for the US to do that, or take it to a third country to have it destroyed there. We still haven't had a reply on that from the Iranians. So this is a very long, drawn-out situation, and as if that wasn't enough to complicate affairs, we also have this declaration from Donald Trump yesterday that he wants to bring in even more countries into the Abraham Accords, which date from his first time in office, which were a series of Arab nations who have normalized their relations with Israel. He wants to bring in more countries to create a regional link between Israel and its Arab neighbors, basically to isolate Iran. But even that is pretty much dead in the water, because one of the main countries that was on the point of normalizing relations with Israel before the attacks of 2022 and the beginning of the war in Gaza is Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia has shown no willingness to renew its ties with Israel or to strike diplomatic relations with Israel while there is no way towards a Palestinian state, and that's certainly something that's off the cards at the moment.
Meanwhile, there's a lot of conflicting reports about how well these negotiations are going. Who are we meant to believe? And where are we headed with these negotiations?
That is a very good question, Haxi, and unfortunately, we can't really answer that right now. These are, I'll give you some of the statements that have come out in the last few hours. This is Donald Trump yesterday. A deal is in its final stages. It's progressing nicely. But then neither side should rush into things. Then Marco Rubio yesterday, on his return from India, we thought we might have some news last night, maybe today. I wouldn't read too much into it. We have what I think is a pretty solid thing on the table in terms of their ability to open up the strait, to get the straits open. But there's no deal which appears to be pending and signed or ready to be signed anytime soon. And the bottom line also is, just one thing I think we have to remember, is that the Strait of Hormuz was open, shipping was going through there before this war started on the 28th of February. So the fact that Israel and the United States started this war on Iran means that Iran has now taken control of the Strait of Hormuz, which is their ultimate weapon to upset international trade, oil prices, everything. And all the countries around there are struggling to try to get this undone, and no one for the moment moment is managing to do that. And that, I think, is what Iran is using as a lever. And Iran is there to buy time. The longer it can keep this going, the more time it will have to rebuild its military, its drone supplies, and that will make it a much more formidable adversary to the United States.